How to move to Dubai in 2026 and beyond, all in one video. This will be an ultimate guide for everyone who wants to move to the UAE and establish a residence there. We will cover everything from visa to costs to the whole process timeline and what will be the best scenario for you. So let's get right into it. You want to move to the UAE because it's tax friendly, it's safe, and many other reasons. So what is the exact process in order to be able to move to the UAE? First of all, you need to take care of the residence visa. There are multiple options in order to get the residence visa. The most common options are either through investment or employment. And employment can be split into two categories: setting up your own business or actually signing up with a company and getting employed by a local company. But most experts that are entrepreneurs already, that usually go with the company setup, we've done a video for that as well. Usually they go for freezing company. Those are the options for employment. The other option is for investment. You buy property. There's actually a new rule that there is no minimum requirements. So you can even buy a cheap studio apartment for like $100,000 or even less than that, for example, and get a residence visa as well for that. There's also the golden visa, which has a higher requirement of 2 million dirham, which is around $500,000. That will actually enable you to get a visa for 10 years. The other visas are usually limited to 2 years. So there's a difference, but they can be renewed quite easily if the property or the investment is still there, or if the company or your employment is still active. So those are the differences. And the 2 million golden visa program can also be done for a bank account investment. So you don't have to buy the property. You can also deposit the amount in a bank account, in a local bank account. Or you buy a property that is not finished yet. You just make a down payment, but the value of the completed project will be 2 million dirham. Then it's going to meet the requirement as well. So those are the basic requirements that you have to look at. The second thing you have to look at is potential exit tax. So if you're living in a very high tax country like Germany, Austria, Spain, or other countries, you have to look at the exit tax. If you're already an entrepreneur, that's something nobody really talks about, but it's very important that if you leave your country, that you pay all your taxes for the exit, or you structure it proactively, very in a smart way that you don't have to pay for it. International tax laws are very specific to each country, so I can't give you a guide on that. You have to evaluate it case by case because every tax law is different. Germany is different from Austria. Austria is different from Spain. So you have to take care of. But I just want to give you a little heads up. Take care of that. There are multiple taxes that might be triggered if you leave your home country, if you have significant investments, or if you're an entrepreneur. So make sure you're covered in that regard. Second thing is insurance. If you move to Dubai, you want to have insurance, especially health insurance. So there are multiple options. Either you go for a local health insurance, which is quite cheap and affordable, or you go for an international health insurance, which we always recommend for everyone who wants to move to Dubai and travel a lot. Because a lot of people move to Dubai, stay there for a couple months, a year, maybe the winter months, and then leave for summer, or they travel quite frequently throughout the year. I would highly recommend you to go for an international health insurance like Foyer from Luxembourg, April Insurance from France, or other insurances like Passport Card, Genki as well. So we have multiple that we actually work together with. So if you need help in that regard, we can definitely help you. But just keep in mind, you want to have a proper health insurance. If you want to have a local one, you can just go to insurancemarket.ae, check out the prices. But usually the local ones are very cheap because they're obviously limited to UAE or the GCC only. So it will set you back around $100 in most cases. But it obviously very much depends on your age, your history, if you have ongoing diseases or not. But for most of my clients, they can be covered within $100 per month. And the international ones are usually double or triple the price of that, but you're covered beyond the UAE. So you have to take care. Another very important thing is if you leave your home country, not only take care of the exit tax, but make sure you actually cancel every single lease agreement. You notify the authorities proactively as well, meaning your insurance, if it's governmental insurance, your landlord, obviously cancel your lease or sell your house if you have to. Depending if you move to Dubai for tax reasons, then you definitely want to cut ties with your local tax authorities and obviously inform the tax authorities directly. Usually you can be done with your accountant. But that's something to keep in mind as well as with the exit tax and other liabilities that come with leaving your country. The next step will be entering the UAE. If you come by employment, you get an eVisa. It's very important to travel to the UAE with the eVisa. If you just enter the UAE with the tourist visa, it will set you back a couple of days. It will also cost money because you have to do a status change. It's very important to get the eVisa. I will put a picture here so you can see what it looks like. Present it at the passport control at the DXB airport and enter the country with the eVisa. It will definitely speed up the process and it will cost you less money if you do it directly that way. And when you enter the UAE, UAE, the first thing you can even do it on the same day. Actually, we do it on the same day for most of our clients. We go to the medical test. The medical test is a legal requirement in order to later on get the residence visa and the Emirates ID. It's a very quick test that includes an x-ray of your lung and a blood test. Usually you're scanned for polio or other highly infectious diseases like HIV. In most cases, it takes less than 30 minutes and the result will be there in 1 to 3 hours. So it's quite quick, efficient, and there's nothing to worry about. It's a very standardized process. There are many clinics in Dubai. There's close to no waiting time, most facilities. So the process is very efficient. It can be done quite quickly. After you get your medical test result, you can do the Emirates ID application. It's a form you have to fill out in order to get the Emirates ID. With the Emirates ID application, you go to the next governmental facility, which will be a typing center where you do the biometrics. The biometrics is a very quick appointment where they can scan your fingerprints. These fingerprints will be linked to your Emirates ID and saved to the Emirates ID. So those two steps can be done on the first or on the second day in Dubai. And then you just have to wait until your residence visa is issued. It usually only takes 1 business days. It's quite quickly. Nowadays, depending on the free zone and your employer, but it's very quickly. Usually you receive it in the same week and then you're good to go. You have residence visa. Your Emirates ID will take a little bit longer because it's an actual physical card and identification card that will be sent to your home address, and that will be sent to you, to your hotel or wherever you're staying in the UAE. But it takes usually 1 week because it has to be printed and then sent to you. So basically, yeah, it takes a couple of days. But the Emirates ID is very important because that takes me to the next step, banking. It is definitely necessary to open a personal bank account. You have to present your Emirates ID. They will actually scan your finger, so make sure that the card is delivered to the right person. There's actually quite a few banks you can go to in Dubai. I would definitely recommend opening a personal or a business account if you have a business at VU Bank. VU Bank is a virtual bank. It's part of First Abu Dhabi Bank. It's one of the biggest banks in the UAE, basically, or actually in the GCC. So they set up VU FinTech Banking a couple of years ago. Very easy to use, quick onboarding, and it's a very user-friendly banking experience, in my opinion, if you just want to have a quick bank account for everyday transactions. Another bank I can recommend is Mashreq Bank. It's a good all-rounder bank. Emirates National Bank Dubai. It's also quite popular bank for expats, or First Abu Dhabi Bank to mention this one as well. After you have your bank account and your Emirates ID ready, you can look for an apartment. There are different residential areas. We've done a video on that. It is linked down below. Some of them I can really recommend are Dubai Creek Harbour, Dubai Hills, or downtown DIFC or Business Bay. If you want to have that really high frequent downtown busy life, then you definitely are going to enjoy that. If you like it a bit calmer, you move more inside the country, might as well be looking at the villa community like Damak Hills or Al Barari, depending on your budget. Or if you want to stay by the seaside, Imar Beachfront or Palm Jumeirah, obviously also very popular amongst expats. JVC is another very cheap option if you're on a budget that is still quite reachable. It's not too far away. Traffic can be insane sometimes, but that's what we have to deal nowadays in Dubai. But still another affordable option for expats. Another point I want to mention, if you have a company, obviously we've done a video on that. I just want to mention it again. You have to take care of your corporate tax registration as well as your ongoing bookkeeping and filing your annual report at the end of the following year until the 30th of September. So if you're an entrepreneur, you have set up your business, it doesn't really matter if you're doing business or not, if your company is active or not, if you have revenue or not. If you have a company, you have to fulfill the compliance. So you have to take care of that. We help our clients do the bookkeeping and the accounting as well as the tax registration. I just want to mention that because some people just set up companies for their visa in order to be able to live in Dubai, don't do anything with the company. They think they don't have to file for taxes. This is incorrect. The FTA will fine you 10,000 dirham if you don't register and fine you even more if you don't upload your annual report and the annual filing that is necessary. So what are the total costs for a complete setup and immigration to Dubai? It really depends on which route you want to go through. If you go through the employment route, and your employer usually takes care of everything and will pay for everything. If you do it yourself, most cases you will set up a free zone company. A free zone company with the whole setup and everything will set you back around $6,000, depending on the free zones, depending on the amount of visas. But for one visa, it usually will cost you, give or take, $6,000. Some free zones are cheaper, some are more expensive, but it's just giving you a broad estimate. And if you do it with an agency, it can be more expensive as well, obviously. But for first timers, I highly recommend it because it can be quite confusing. First of all, setting up the company, getting the right licenses and the whole process, the governmental appointments in Dubai. It's quite tricky if you do it the first time. So I can only recommend if you're not sure about it and if you don't want to waste time and get it done very efficiently in the least amount of time possible. So those are the most important steps and things you have to consider if you want to move to Dubai. If you have more questions, you can definitely leave it down below in the comments, or if you want to have a consultation, you can click the link down below, book a consultation directly with me. I'm looking forward to help you set up in Dubai, move to Dubai, and enjoy a very tax-friendly, peaceful life. That's it for today. See you in the next video.